To extend our heartfelt gratitude for honoring the Academy with their presence today, we present the dignitaries on dais with potted plants to signify growth and prosperity. I request Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director, Indian National Science Academy, to extend the token of gratitude to Professor Ashutosh Sharma, President INSA. I again request Dr. Brajesh Pandey to present the token of welcome to Professor Balram Bhargav. I now request Dr. Kinkini Dasgupta Mishra ma'am to present the token of gratitude to Dr. Brajesh Pandey, Executive Director, INSA. I request Shri Sunil Zokarkar, Deputy Executive Director, Finance and Administration, to present the token of gratitude to Dr. Kinkini Dasgupta Mishra, Scientist F, INSA. Thank you, respected dignitaries. This year's National Science Day theme, Empowering Indian Youth for Global Leadership in Science and Innovation for VIKSIT Bharat, underscores the pivotal role of young minds in propelling India towards scientific excellence and global leadership. As we embark on today's journey of ideas, discoveries, and visionary insights, let us celebrate the brilliance of our young scientific minds and embrace the boundless possibilities that science and innovation hold for VIKSIT Bharat. With this, I now invite Dr. Kinkini Dasgupta Mishra to deliver the welcome address for the event. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ananya. Good evening, esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, and my dear participants. Though the participants is a little less today, we were expecting full auditorium. Greetings on the National Science Day. As it is my privilege to formally welcome you to the National Science Day celebration of Indian National Science Academy, a day of great significance for the entire Indian scientific community. As we all know, on this occasion, we commemorate the discovery of Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman, and that discovery that brought India its first Nobel Prize in Science and continued to inspire generations for futures, and of all the researchers. This year, we come together under the theme, Empowering Indian Youth for Global Leadership in Science and Innovation for VIKSIT Bharat, to emphasize the crucial role of young researchers, innovators, and entrepreneurs to prepare them for scientific and technological future. The vision of VIKSIT Bharat by 2047 can only be realized if we equip our youth with knowledge, skills, and opportunities that are needed to lead the stage, or India on the global stage. It is an immense moment of great pride for INSA to felicitate Professor Ashutosh Sharma, President INSA, who has been honored with the prestigious Civilian Award Padma Shri. His exemplary contributions to science, technology, and innovation has remarkably, significantly influenced India's scientific progress. Sir, our heartfelt congratulations to you from the entire INSA family. To mark this special occasion, the felicitation will be done by another distinguished scientist, Professor Balram Bhargava. Professor Balram Bhargava is a renowned physician, scientist, cardiologist, medical educationist, and innovator. He is presently the professor of Department of Cardiology in AIIMS. He was previously attached with ICMR. He was the Director General of Indian Council of Medical Research, and he played a pivotal role in advancing medical research and public health in India. We are very honored to have you with us, sir, today. Professor Balram Bhargav will also deliver the keynote address on the National Science Day theme and share his insights with us. A major highlight of today's event is the panel discussion, where we have experts from the academia, research institutions, and startup ecosystem who will deliberate on the strategies to strengthen India's leadership in science and innovation. I warmly welcome all the esteemed panelists today to our National Science Day program. We have with us Dr. Shashi Bhushan Pandey. He is Scientist G, Anusandhan National Research Foundation, ANRF. It is a newly formed body of major apex body for funding in all the research, technology and innovation under Department of Science and Technology. We have with us Sri Surya Kant, Program Director, MIT Startup Hub. We have with us Dr. Banhi Ray. She is the professor with IIT Delhi, and Dr. Nishant Chakravarti Inyas, Chair, Associate Professor, IIT Kharagpur. Dr. Veda Krishnan, Senior Scientist, ICAR, IARI. Their diverse perspectives will provide valuable insights into how policy, education, research, and innovation can bring together and empower the Indian youth and their scientific mind. Thank you for being with us today. We are also delighted to present Saransh 2024, a program of INIAS, Indian National and Young Academy of Science, under the aegis of INSA, which highlights the contributions of young researchers, reinforcing the spirit of curiosity, discovery, and innovation that drives the scientific progress. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to this program and look forward to a meaningful and thought-provoking discussion ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your warm words of welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pause for a moment and revel in an occasion of immense pride and prestige for the entire scientific and INSA fraternity. Today, we witness history in the making as we celebrate not just the spirit of science, but also the brilliance of one of its finest torchbearers, a visionary, a trailblazer, and an architect of innovation, Professor Ashutosh Sharma. It is INSA's pride and exuberance that we felicitate Professor Ashutosh Sharma, our esteemed President of Indian National Science Academy, for being conferred the prestigious Padma Shri 2025 in the field of science and engineering. A big round of applause for Professor Sharma. I now request our esteemed guest of honor, who himself has been adorned with Padma Shri, Professor Balram Bhargav, to felicitate Professor Ashutosh Sharma for being conferred with Padma Shri this year. I request sir to felicitate Professor Ashutosh Sharma with token of appreciation. I again request Professor Balram Bhargav to present the citation and a token of gratitude to Professor Sharma. Thank you, respected dignitaries. A luminary whose intellect has sculpted the landscape of nanoscience and nanotechnology, a leader whose tenure as Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, propelled India's scientific ambitions to new heights, and a mentor whose wisdom continues to inspire generations of researchers to come. With this, I now invite Professor Ashutosh Sharma for his presidential address. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very touched and very pleased for all the affection, and all the friendships and everything here. I'm indeed very lucky to be part of this family of INSA, UNSA, everybody. All of them are very good people, and so I was just trying to look at what is the theme of this. The theme of the Science Day. Theme of the Science Day is empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and technology and innovation for VIKSIT Bharat. So that looks like a mouthful. That looks like lots of critical keywords. What are these keywords? Are empowering Indian youth, global leadership, science, technology and innovation, and VIKSIT Bharat. That's the entire title, but each one of them is a keyword. So it looks like, okay, where do we begin? These are certainly very important ideas, but they are very wide spectrum. So therefore, you cannot really talk about them in any meaningful way in 5 minutes. But one can take some aspect of these things which we may be a little bit relevant for us, some limited angles, if you would. So first of all, if you looked at any of this like 10 years ago or before, they always talked about science and technology, but innovation is something which has been added of late. I would say in last 10 years. And in fact, I say last 10 years because at least I know of the history in last 10 years. In 2015 January, I joined Department of Science and Technology, at which time there were less than 100 technology startups in the country registered. And it was the same year when Honorable Prime Minister gave a call. It's called Startup India. And then it gathered strength, and everybody said, hey, what is startup? In fact, I so remember at that time, Mr. Amitabh Kant was the secretary, DPIIT, and then we were doing brainstorming about how to define startups. So because, if you are going to have concessions, if you are going to have tax breaks, if you are going to have policy, then we must know to who this applies. How do we define that elusive entity called startup? Right. So anyway, it somehow or other, after a few months of deliberations, that got done. There were some policies about tax breaks and stuff, and how do you compute things. All of that happened. And see, today, just 10 years later, there are 1.4 lakh startups in the country. So from less than 100 to 1.4 lakhs, this is not a very, it's a short journey in time, but it's a huge pole vaulting in what has happened there in this landscape. Now, just to give you some idea about, okay, what were the things that happened. You see, innovation is like, sometimes it's good to think in visual terms rather than in terms of words. So innovation, you can think of this in many different ways visually. One of them is to think of innovation as a chain. It is not a single event. So it is end to end, and see, it's just like a chain. It is a weakest link in the chain which defines the strength of the chain. It is not the strongest link. So therefore, while we try to strengthen a lot of stuff in there, if we are not focused on the critical aspect of the link, then that chain will retain its weakness. And so what are these different links? So in innovation, in startups, you would start with pre-incubation. You would be required to make up your mind to take that plunge. You have to prepare people culturally, behaviorally, give them some comfort, psychologically, as well in terms of some moolah. So you need pre-incubation activity, you need prototyping, you need to have a plunge into market, understanding KYC, know your customer, for example, is so important for startup because often ideas are very good, but they fail because we don't know the market reality and KYC. So all of that, and then while doing incubation, well, we get registered, but I still need to eat. And to be able to eat, I need some money, and nobody is giving that money. So I need fellowships and stuff to keep people alive until they are ready to die, which would happen a little bit later. But we should be prepared for it. We should be prepared for it. It's called valley of death. I don't mean people should die. I mean the businesses die because they hit a valley of death. And so these are happen a little bit later. So you need some venture capital, you need early capital, you need angel investors, you need all of that. You need somebody coming, mentorship. You need whole lot of stuff that goes on in between, and then you need exit strategies, and mentorship plays a very important role in all of this, and role models and what have you. So in order to translate all that I'm saying in terms of a scheme, right, this is what we needed to look at. It's a right, and so that scheme was called Nidhi. It came in 2016. So it's not just about establishing incubators. That's the easiest part, to throw money, the easiest part. But then what comes out of it, how do you actually take all these things forward? That requires lots of thought, and you need different schemes, sub-schemes, and so on. And not only that, the whole thing starts actually from school years, because if you don't have the mindset of innovation, then nobody is going to take that plunge. So school, now to target actually the school crowd, we started this scheme called Manak. This is all I'm talking about youth, because it's related to empowering the youth, right? So Manak, what is a Manak? Manak, we said, look, that people have innovative ideas in any language of the country. If we can upload it online, can we get about 1 million ideas every year, right? And from those million ideas, we choose the top 100,000 innovative ideas from school kids, and each one of these ideas gets about 10,000 rupees, not about 10,000, exactly 10,000 rupees. And that they use that money to convert idea into a prototype. So you basically take them through some of the landmarks of what is innovation. So power of ideas, how to convert idea into a prototype, and then then you display it on, you compete on district level, state level, national level, and so on. And as you go forward, you get more mentorship and a little bit more support. So this is to prepare this entire generation about the gospel of innovation, if you would, and startups. And I think it's been a successful program, because very grassroots, together with Atal Innovation Missions, tinkering labs, and they, because to make a prototype anyway, you need a lab, you need some mentorship and all that stuff. So all these things hunt in pairs. So unless you have an ecosystem that supports each other, if it's something standalone, it would die. And so Atal Innovation Mission, then they started same old stuff. Anyway, Mighty started lot of, you can imagine, first it was called Deity, then it's called Mighty. So a deity, when it becomes very powerful, becomes mighty. Okay, so I think it's very good. I think it was doing great guns. So incubators and doing in that particular, and now there's a AI mission. So thinking of AI mission, actually our missions which come from ministries must incorporate innovation in them integrally. So what happened is, our earlier thinking was, hey, there is a center of excellence which is focused on research. But it shouldn't be that, because it will be standalone, it will be a dead end. So therefore all these so-called hubs and centers must have everything integrated in them end to end, which means basic R&D, technology development, translational aspects, connect with the industry, and then also startups, funding and incubator together with it, connect with line ministries, everything. So all of this has to be somewhat holistic, and that thing was put in practice in some of the missions, like the Cyber Physical Systems mission, established 25 hubs across the country at a cost of about 4,000 CR. And already more than 500 startups actually have come out from there, which are related to AI, which are related to some aspect of cyber physical. Let me give you, because we have a representative from Mighty who is looking after innovation. So I'll just narrate to you a very interesting, very short, very brief story about how cyber physical mission came about. So I woke up to this about 8 years ago and said, hey, AI is coming big way, right? But if you go try to convince finance ministry, they'll say, where the hell is AI? Why do you need few thousand crores for it? What? right? I mean, it's very difficult to explain that, look, in 5 years down the road, you would just be begging to, get AI, right? But we have to start on time. But anyway, we got the idea 7, 8 years ago, started, but now it got implemented only 5.5 years ago. In between, there's a lot of kind of fighting for turf. So let's say this ministry that I would not name, they said, no, this is our business to do AI. Okay, so why DST would be doing it? We will be doing it, right? Okay, so you do it, but actually it took a long time for that ministry to do it, and meanwhile we would have lost precious time if we were not right there, right? So what did I do? So I changed the name from AI to cyber physical. Okay. So that's how I have to learn the ropes. Okay. So I say, okay, AI is your business, you do it. I'm doing cyber physical. Okay. Perfect. And actually it went through. And I'm so glad it went through, because else we would have lost 5.5 precious years in, doing all of this stuff. Okay. So all of these good things are happening. Now, as far as youth is concerned, because it was pointed out also repeatedly, we have demographic dividend. The median age of the country is 28.6235 years. Decimals are all made up by me, but it's 28 or between 28 and 29 years, which means that we are indeed very energetic young nation. And how do we empower them? So charity begins at home. So I'll just give you an example of INSA. The fellowship of INSA at the time of election to fellowship, the average age is 59. Okay, and in our country we look forward to retiring very close to that age. So therefore, it's fairly clear that you have to empower, you have to get in, engage younger people in academic affairs. And so we have now an associate fellow below 50 years, a young associate below 40 years, which means that and INIAS has been there now for 10 years. We celebrated. These are the only people who do work, isn't it? So I mean, of course, some of the fellows do work. I see some of them there, so I don't want to discourage them. In fact, they do come for meetings, which is very good. Okay, but so to drive the agenda forward, we need many more younger people. So it's always a question of balance between energy and experience. So these are two E's of life. So as you gain more experience, you lose energy, and vice versa happens. So any committee, any balanced institution must have a spectrum of ages. Not only spectrum of ages, but that of also gender balance, which is again missing in INSA. About 7% women fellows in INSA. And so we have a special drive and stuff to create a vertical for women scientists, will be called women associates, right? Okay. So all of that is happening. So we need that kind of diversity to empower. So when we think about youth, and we think in the context of academia and academies in particular, it's not limited only to men. Please remember. Okay, so women have to be a very integral part of it. I'd often seen these bicycles. I haven't seen a very good bicycle that runs on a single wheel, except in circus, right? And we don't want a circus. So therefore, we need good, nice bicycles that run nice, well. Okay. So anyway, global leadership. Now looking at another keyword that we have. So youth is there, and then empowerment is there through different schemes and stuff. We need global leadership. Now, what does global mean? Now, taking global leadership, of course, that we have to be part of these huge changes which are going to happen and are happening. These are related to rise of intelligent machines, for example, Industry 4.0 and beyond. Industry 4.0 is just the convergence of cyber and physical, which is communication, computing, decision making, autonomous action, and so on. But now there would be a third angle, which is biological. So going beyond Industry 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, and 4G, 5G, 6G, whatever. This is all very Indian, right? Because we call everybody G. So now they start calling 5G, 6G, and everything, right? We should have a copyright on that. Indian is all Indian science. Okay, and then anyway, so what's going to happen? The next evolution or revolution would be bringing in biological, right? So cyber, physical, biological, that completes the love triangle. And so that's going to happen, and we have to be totally prepared for it as to how this biological is going to seep into cyber physical and cyber physical into biological. right? So this is one challenge. Another challenge is to have our atomic clock work very well. I still welcome some people who just walked in. Welcome, guys. Settle down quickly. Where are you coming from? Where? Amity. Oh, so class just got over. Okay. Never mind. Jab jago tabhi savera. Okay. So there is an overarching challenge about that. Another overarching challenge is basically sustainable development, which is an oxymoron. So our idea of sustainability and that of development, they run totally contrary to each other. But because we want to feel good about ourselves, we call it sustainable development. The fact is that there is no sustainable development the way we think about it. And it is not only a problem of science and technology which is going to deliver and solve the problem, but we, all of us together, have to work with a whole lot of other people, the society as a whole, if you would, and different stakeholders of that, in order to work. I mean, I see so many younger people who are going to be dealing with problems of climate change, environmental degradation, about sustainable development or the lack of it. So therefore, I have fortunately lived my life. Okay. But you're going to be little bit more worried, okay, about all of these things, and these are overarching challenges of humanity, of our all foreseeable future on planet Earth. All these fantasy about going to other planets and populating them are just that, fantasies. Don't ever believe that. Okay, so if we can't deal with a planet which is good to begin with, then what are we going to do with planets which are already barren? Right? It's not making any sense at all. But anyway, so okay. Also, I want to point out that this ANRF is start functioning. This Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which is a good news for scientific community and younger people as well, and for state universities and all of that who have been getting little less support, because the size of pie was limited, but now it's going to increase. So they're going to be not hopefully, I'm sure that this is going to percolate in greater numbers and to those places which have been kind of traditionally a little bit left out or received less assistance, which is a very good news indeed. And also integration of social science is going to happen in it. We have to solve problems. As I pointed out, merely having technology is not enough, because if that was the case, we develop green technologies all the time, but the emissions have not gone down. Okay, that is a hard data, and they're showing no signs of going down. Okay, they will not go down. So therefore, something more is required. Policies are required. Society's will is required to do something about it, and so all of that has to happen. The demographic dividend is going to dry up in about 35 years from now. So while we are talking about youth all the time now, and for very good reason, that we'll probably talk even more about that. When you people are less youth, if people sitting here would be less of youth then 35 years from now, but they'll talk even more about youth because there'll be fewer of you there, right? So it is very precious to be young in an aging world. Is a how you call it? It's a joy and a privilege which happens only once in your life, and in the life of our nation it happens once in 500 years. So you miss this boat, you miss this bus, we miss it totally. Right? Newer challenges will come which will put limits on our growth, right? And so if we can't catch this demographic dividend now, then it is really too late. The newer challenges will further constrain our stuff here. Finally, so I'll conclude by saying this is the meaning of Amrit Kal. So Amrit Kal, don't confuse it with some lip service or political slogan, which it is not. So Amrit Kal simply means between here and another 30 years. 2447 is of course a landmark in that direction, but go a little bit beyond that. And so unless we had this Amrit Kal, we have all the resources at our disposal. Things are looking better, right? But it's not a time for sleeping. Okay, it's not a time to be complacent. It's not a time to think business as usual. Business as usual will not solve the problems that we have. So I'm often fond of saying this, that every problem has three kind of solutions, which are called jugaad, dhanda and panga. It's time to do more panga. It's time to do less dhanda. Some things require dhanda. 80% of societal businesses require dhanda. Right? Okay, we are happy with 5% growth year by year. That would also happen. That has to be done. We don't want to be disruptive in the sense that people, it's not a bloody revolution one is calling for. One is calling for disruption in idea, saying and how to convert that into reality. And so oftentimes we think out of box and find new solutions and be acceptable of change. So the only thing which will characterize the future is to not only welcome change, but to be an architect of that change. Willfully seek change. A lot of those changes will fail, but that's not a reason for not trying out new things. So trying out new things is how when we do 100 new things, 10 of them would be successful. The other 90 will just by selection will disappear, which is perfectly okay. This is how actually we became humans from God knows fishes, people say. Okay, is by selection, is by trying out 1 million different permutation combinations, and those that succeed go forward, those who don't disappear. So that's all there is. So I don't know what. So these, just to give you an example of let's say disruptive thinking. This is not only for big technology. This is in our everyday life, because our doing quality science does not depend only on our IQ and training. It depends on our the cultural and behavioral aspects. Largely, I have totally come to the conclusion that you see, we as a society don't lack training. We don't lack great universities. This IIT, that something, R&D, whatever. What is it that why are we not leaders? Right? Because our risk-taking ability is limited. That is because we are resistant to change. I can see every place that I have been to in my life. I can guarantee you, even if it looks like this is a small, simple change and is guaranteed to succeed, even then people would have psychological resistance to that change. And so I think this is totally cultural and behavioral. And so this is what we need to address in saying, is that change is the negotiating change, living with it, designing change, engineering change, doctoring change, managing change. I don't know what is the difference between doctoring and engineering. Right? When we say let's doctor something, let's engineer something, let's manage something. Manage I can understand, a little bit different. In Indian context, manage means totally different thing. है ना? When I tell somebody, भाई ये कर देना, okay, हाँ manage कर लूँगा. And I don't know what is this kind of management, manage, something. But sometimes you say let's doctor change, sometimes you say let's engineer change. Okay, but we need to do both. And so all of that is happening. And let me welcome Professor Bihari. He gave a wonderful, wonderful lecture in the morning there in Vigyan Bhavan. And I have taken a lot of notes, which, next time you invite me to give a lecture here in INSA, so I will give a lecture on his lecture. It was so good. So anyway, everyday life, we need to do innovation and change. And for example, you saw that they are giving me a little jacket, right? That's because I said, don't give me shawl. Okay. Everywhere I suspect they will give me a shawl, I send them the size of my t-shirt. And I said, hey, why? What do you want to do with shawl, right? You give me something I can use. And in fact, I'm asking people to give Amazon coupons. Okay. So that's the best, because then you're going to get something that you're going to use for sure, right? I mean, right. Similarly, we start all our conferences, academic conferences and stuff with Saraswati Pujan. And so last 4 that I have done, I also did Lakshmi Pujan. So I said Saraswati and Lakshmi must be worshipped together or not at all. Okay, and the reason is very simple. I mean, people should not be offended by this. There is a very simple thing to explain. I mean, all the time we scientists are bitching about not having money. But when I take the name of Lakshmi, people get curled up. They say, Lakshmi? No, it doesn't look good. No, I'm an academician, something like that, right? But they're all people agitating for higher wages. Let me tell you, whenever the new pay commission comes, they go chasing Lakshmi, right? So now the whole point is this. We need Lakshmi to create knowledge, and we need knowledge to create Lakshmi. And so therefore, for analytical purposes, we have created two different Devis, like thermodynamics and fluid mechanics. However, they have to work together in order to solve problems, right? It's not thermodynamics alone will not solve problem, fluid mechanics alone will not solve problem. So all of this is synthesis rather than differentiation. From differentiation we go to synthesis, and this is what is lacking. And I mean, all my younger colleagues coming from MIT and other colleges, you guys learn from chapter to chapter, then exam to exam, course to course, degree to degree, but at the end of it there is no holistic synthesis, which is problem solving. Right, so okay, thank you very much indeed. All the time which was allocated to me I have taken, and so therefore I quit here now, stop. Thank you everybody for being part of this Science Day and the journey at INSA. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your cognizance and broadening our horizon of knowledge. We are exceptionally mesmerized by your thoughts every time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor to welcome a visionary leader in public health, an esteemed cardiologist and a driving force behind India's medical research, Professor Balram Bhargav, former Director General ICMR. The stage is yours, sir.
Thank you so much. May I have the slides, if possible? Yeah. Yeah. Right. So I think, dear friends, I think Dr. Sharma has laid down the key words for the theme of this meeting: accelerated R&D towards VIKSIT Bharat, the role of the youth, and how they will become global. But, and again, he has said that Amrit Kal is a serious matter, and that is why I've said it's not a dream, but a challenge. And I will not give sermon about what are the problems and what you can do, but I'll give you a perspective how our scientific community has worked over the last 75, 78 years after independence, and how we have achieved, and what is that extra thing that we have, which so today we celebrate the National Science Day because of the discovery of the Raman effect by the Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. And if you would like to add, and I would like to add actually, that Dr. C.V. Raman was one of the first innovators, as well as a person who started the Travancore chemical factory in 1940, and that was huge, and that was one of the things where we talk about the business part of science, and he was one of those who started it in the early 1940. So we should be cognizant of that, and remember that ultimately all science has to there has to be production of Lakshmi as well as Saraswati both, so as we take it forward. Now towards VIKSIT Bharat, how will we achieve this? And I think this is a quote from Professor M.G.K. Menon, that Indians can do whatever we put our minds to. And how do we do it, and how we have done it? By blood, sweat, tears and toil. And I think for the next Amrit Kal, we will have to use this, and also use our basic intellect as well as our training, and the resources that are now available, we will have to utilize them in a big way. So what are the strengths of India? First, let us talk about that. The strengths of India are that there are large unmet needs. The opportunity is immense. There is a greater belief in science in the nation. There is a large engineering, services, infotech and science industry that is now developed, or rather matured, or is maturing. And last, one important point which I always say, that Indians are naturally innovative mindset. I don't know, they're genetically endowed, and we have two examples here, Gukesh and Vishwanath Anand, who are world #1 in chess. So there's something in the mind which we need to harness and take it forward in every which way. First have a belief in ourselves and then take it forward. So there are so many problems we talk about, but we wait and we wait a lot till the problems reach a critical mass. जब तक नाक तक पानी नहीं आ गया तब तक हम लोग we are just happy on the charpai and enjoying till we see someone else running away, then we get up and start running suddenly accord. So that is our genetic problem, or whatever environmental problem or social problem or whatever we may say. But once we solve these problems, we solve them in a cheaper, better, faster and much scalable manner. And I will give examples of them, and then I will show some pictures about them. India's struggle for independence, not a drop of blood was shed for the struggle for independence. And we had it, the concept of ahimsa was given to the world. So it contributed immensely. Our food grain crisis and the green revolution, we know about BP Pal and Dr. Swaminathan, and I'll talk a little bit about it. Our white revolution, we know about Dr. Kurian, and then the space, ISRO, Mars mission, we have Sarabhai, MGK Menon, Kasturi Rangan, nuclear, Bhabha, Setna, Ramanna, Chidambaram, Kakodkar. Polio eradication program, Dr. Harshvardhan, India was one of the countries which had the polio eradication more than 15 years back, and we have done phenomenally well. Our mass transport, Delhi Metro, and we know the Metro man, Dr. Sridharan, how he has been able to set it up in different parts of the world. Our resilient banking system, Reserve Bank to State Bank, mobile networks, Airtel to Jio now, government scheme, National NRHM, ABPMJY, Ayushman Bharat, and what have we. Some Bollywood, I've left it ... because I cannot start naming, otherwise it will take me till the morning till I name people. Generic drugs and vaccines, we have Yusuf Hamid, and Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, Adar Poonawala, Cipla, Serum, other companies. So the concept has been there since our independence. It was earlier, it was be Indian, buy Indian, thought in India, made in India, be Indian, buy Indian, vocal for local. So different garb has been given for the same concept, but that is where we stand. And these are some examples which I want you people to think and remember that these are the people who have had a naturally innovative mindset and are genetically endowed, and that is what you people have, and therefore try to nurture it. And we know another interesting aspect of our genes is that we are socially conscious. We believe in affordability, we believe in availability, and we believe in accessibility. We are becoming global citizens with television, internet, mobile phones, but we still would not like to waste. So that has been our strength, and I would like you to keep that strength as long as you can, because that will always be cost effective. And now the other part of the world, the Western world, is moving towards cost effectiveness, but we already have that innately in our genes, and so let's not lose that. So whenever you innovate, and we are talking about the startups, when there were less than 100 in 2015, now there are more than 100,000 startups, we have to remember Thomas Edison. In the 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, he had more than 1,000 patents. And his philosophy was that anything that won't sell, I don't want to invent. Its sale is proof of utility, and utility is success. On the other side, we have Mahatma Gandhi, who believed that the earth provides enough to satisfy every man's greed, but not every man's to every man's need, but not every man's greed. So from my perspective, in today's India, and till we have the VIKSIT Bharat, there has to be a balance between Gandhian and Edisonian innovation. Again, balance between Saraswati and Lakshmi. So you have to have knowledge, but at the same time you have to make some money, but not at the cost of that. I will not invent if it is not making money. Now this slide I just wanted to show on this Science Day. This is a slide of Swami Vivekanand and Sir Jagdish Chand Bose. Now why am I showing this slide? We just talked about 1800s, 1870, 1880, 1890, and 1,000 patents filed by Thomas Edison. But India did not have any patent. And the first patent ever filed by India was the patent of Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, which was carried by Swami Vivekanand to Chicago and filed in the United States in 1903. So this is the first patent ever filed by India, 1903. So I just wanted you to get this little perspective. Now, India is a pharmacy of the world, and we know that the seeds of revolution were planted before World War II. When World War II was approaching, then Mahatma Gandhi had also approached various physicists and chemists to set up factories for drugs manufacturing, because during the World War, medicines will not come from the Western world, so we'll have to manufacture, and therefore certain companies were set up to manufacture drugs at that point in time, and generic drug. So India has been now exporting 60% of the generic drugs for the world, and they are all being manufactured by several companies in India. So now I'll give a perspective from 1947 to what we are today, a little bit in pictures. So 1950s, we were talking about getting self-sufficiency in higher education. In 1950, IIT Kharagpur was set up. 1956, AIIMS New Delhi was set up. 1961, IIM Calcutta was set up. And today we have 23 IITs. We have 25 All India Institutes of Medical Sciences. We have 21 IIMs and more than 1,000 universities across the country. So the infrastructure is there. Yes, it needs some more robustness, but the infrastructure is there, which can be built on in a big way. So in 1960s, India was a fledgling, aspiring nation. We want to set up a new science policy. We want to set up our IITs, IIMs. We want to set up our steel industry. All that infrastructure was being created, and these are some pictures of what was India in the 60s. And then you have the tumultuous times, and we had the war with China in 62 and with Pakistan in 65, but these were the serious problems. There was food shortage, and we had the green revolution started by Dr. B.P. Pal, Dr. Swaminathan, and at that time the Prime Minister was Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, and he had given the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. And this slogan was further expanded by Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji as Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, and now by the current leadership, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan. So we had shortage of food grains, and we know there was milk shortages. Summer months there was no milk available in the country, particularly in the northern part, and particularly in most parts of India, where because of the heat we didn't have tremendous shortage. And we have here Dr. Kurian explaining how he started the milk revolution in the early 50s, and when we were having the white revolution, we had shortage of food grains, and the Prime Minister at that time had said that we have to miss a meal. We were told only eat once a day and miss a meal so that food grains are not consumed that much. And we had the Australian and the Americans give us food grains under the Public Law 480 and the Colombo Plan, and those food grains were brought to India, which were horrible लाल गेहूं जिससे रोटी भी नहीं बनती थी, but it was not even given to animals in the West, and that was being sent to India at that point in time, and that was stored in the Hall J, which has now been broken down, of the Department of Science Technology at Mehrauli Road. So that hall has now been broken down, but significance of that hall, because that is where this gehu was stored. And now today we are the second largest exporter of wheat and rice, exporting to most parts of the world, and again thanks to the green revolution that has happened. And then we have the white revolution, the blue revolution, the golden revolution, several revolutions that have happened in India, and that is because, and therefore for the youngsters like you, I think there is a solid base that is already there in terms of infrastructure, in terms of know-how, in terms of communication, as well as the knowledge. So you have to just build on it. So these are the two posthumous Bharat Ratnas, Dr. Swaminathan and Lal Bahadur Shastri, the architects of the Green Revolution. But during those wars in 62 and in 65, the focus on science remained. And the ISRO was born, the Space Research Organization, and here we have Shri Vikram Sarabhai, and there is a rocket being taken. We have a classic picture of it being taken on a bicycle. This is being carried, this is how they worked on it. And then we had a world class of space, nuclear, satellite, atomic, electronics, IT scientists who were a handful of people across the world. And two of them here we are seeing Dr. M.G.K. Menon and Vikram Sarabhai present, and in that world class of nuclear scientists at that point in time. Then 70s we had another war. We had the Bangladesh war, and this war we won, and we were able to establish a new East Pakistan was converted into Bangladesh, and in 1976 Sikkim became a state of India. It became the 22nd state of India, and you know the other states have been carved out of Uttarakhand, and others are carved out of UP, MP, and Bihar. But again, 60s, 70s, focus on science remained, and we had the Operation Smiling Bugdha, Pokhran 1974. And if you hear the story from Dr. Chidambaram, who is no more, this was carried out as a secret mission. All the buses, all the trucks carrying loads of stuff used to move at night because the American satellites were watching, and they were putting sanctions on us after the Bangladesh war. We had the 7th Fleet come into the Bay of Bengal, and we had some sanctions imposed once we did this nuclear blast. So at that point in time they were watching us very, very, very closely, but the focus on science remained. And here we have Operation Smiling Buddha, the architect Dr. Chidambaram, and who just died in January this year at the age of 88, and Operation Shakti, which was Pokhran 2 in 1998, where we have Dr. Kakodkar here talking about it. 1975 Aryabhat was launched, so India ushered into the space age, and by 1978 India had started its universal immunization program, taking care of youngsters who were born at that time in the 70s, and that has taken care of more than 28 million children are vaccinated every year, which is the largest universal immunization program in the world, and that was started. And more recently, this is a picture of the Northeast, where we were able to deliver vaccines by drones for the first time in the world. And this is our beautiful Northeast, and you can see this Meghalaya. Now, All India Institute, just I wanted to show one slide where we have 3.5 million people are treated every year at the cost of $1 per day for inpatients, and outpatients are more or less free, or right 10 rupees I think at the moment. And this featured at a cover story of Newsweek in 2006. And advanced medical care, transplants, left ventricular assisted device, resynchronization therapies, all were done. Our youngest patient, heart patient I can talk about, which was treated as a 27-year-old fetus, and this fetus had a valve obstruction, and this obstructed valve was opened in utero by a balloon, and that was again the Prime Minister talked about it, how we had done it, and this is one of the youngest patient, 27-year-old fetus. So we are there, we are competitive as far as the world is concerned, and therefore we have to have that belief that we can do it. Heart transplant started in 1994, and these are heart transplanted who were the Olympians in the transplanted program, and in Australia they won medals at the transplant games in 2023. And then we have the South Pole of Mars, where we have the ISRO, how we conquered space frugally. Again, I would like all of you to remember that we need to really salute our defense services, who have been protecting the borders of this nation since 1947, and they have really kept us proud. And we have the technologies which are there. We have mobile phones. We have people only talk about IT and mobile, but they need to talk about Bollywood and cricket, where India is doing phenomenally well. Space, nuclear program, And again, I talked about the green revolution, the farmer revolution, the white revolution. And I think with this background, I would like you people to go back with a belief that India is on a mission, and we are blessed to have a platform laid out for you as youngsters, wherein infrastructure is there, there is a knowledge is there is money is there, schemes are there. It's only, as Dr. Sharma said, that there is no time to sleep, but you need to work toward accelerated R&D for Viksit Bharat. Thank you for your attention, because attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights with us. It is indeed enlightening to hear from you. I now request Professor Ashutosh Sharma to felicitate Professor Balram Bhargava for delivering the National Science Day Lecture 2025 at INSA. Thank you, sir, for sharing the entire journey of scientific development in India. Thank you, dignitaries. With utmost pride, it is our absolute honor to have with us Dr. Sanjay Bihari, Director, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum, a revered personality awarded with Vigyan Shri and Fellow of Indian National Science Academy. Dr. Bihari is India's topmost neurosurgeon. I welcome you, sir, to share your insights with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, not the topmost, please. I'm just, first of all, I'm deeply honored to be a part of this organization. Actually, I'd only heard of INSA, and it was only a dream to actually be a part of it. And when you look at the list of scientists, doctors, engineers who are actually a part of it, then all I can say is that it's an absolute and deep honor for me to be here. And of course, in the company of Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Balram Bhargava, and Mr. Pandey, and all the revered figures in the front, I mean, it's like a deep, deep honor for me. So this was just an unforeseen thing, and they just asked me to come. But I just want to tell you a few points. First of all, I've been have had the pleasure of having very close interaction with Dr. Chidambaram and Professor Vilayathan. Dr. Chidambaram was the chairman after he was the president of our organization, the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology. And then after that, he was also the chairman of the Research Council. He kindly agreed to kind of step down, and after becoming a president, it was unprecedented, but he became the chairman of the Research Council. So we've had close interactions, and in that interaction, we had some very, I asked him all these questions about the Pokhran and everything. And what he told me was two scientific events which have completely changed the history of science in the country, and which have completely changed our perception of science, and which have completely changed our pride in science, are number one, the Pokhran blast, and the second was, when everybody else had failed, we could actually land on the moon on the south side of moon. And suddenly people realized that science has power, and science has finances, and science has credible people managing it. So that's Professor Chidambaram. And Professor Velayathan was the first person who actually started a revolution in the country, and unfortunately both of them passed away within a month of each other. Professor Velayathan was the person who actually started translational science in the country, in the sense that he completely realized that in addition to actually treating patients, making medical devices are an integral part of the country. And almost 45 years ago, he established the institute, which now serves as the epitome for all other institutes to follow, where science, engineering, basic science, and clinical medicine all go hand in hand in making products. And about a week before he passed away, we had a conversation. He called me and he said, I have metastasis, and of course I don't have long to live, and I've decided that I don't want to actually give myself any treatment. I don't want to subject myself to any more treatment, and I'm thankfully out of pain. But he said that I never realized the revolution which this small concept of starting engineering within a medical college will bring to the country. I'd never expected it to become such a big thing. And now that it has become such a big thing, all I can say is that I'm grateful to God that it's only a person who's very lucky who can see the fruits of his labor during his lifetime. So those were his exact words, and I was very fortunate to have this. The third point that I'd like to mention is related to the fourth dimension. So we talk about 3 dimensions. Those 3 dimensions are, you all know that there are 3 coordinates, x, y, and z, and all the planes, 3 planes based on these 3 coordinates. So supposing I want to go from point A to point B, and I want to meet, say, Professor Sharma from point A to point B. So if we both have the dimensions, okay, x, y, z, and the planes, we will meet at a point. But there is one point where we will never meet till we have the 4th dimension, and that dimension is time. So one important aspect is that when we are looking at dimensions, we are only looking at x, y, and z and the corresponding planes. But we are not looking at the 4th dimension, and that is time. And the sooner we realize in science that it is a time-bound implication, suddenly it will going to transform science in the country. So that is one important aspect which I'd like every scientist, engineer to ponder upon. Your self-imposed deadlines, as we doctors impose, okay, we have to finish this surgery and then another one, and then we'll fight with the anesthetist, like a love-hate relationship like you have with your wife with the anesthetist. At 3 o'clock we'll say, oh, we want another surgery, and 4 o'clock we want another surgery. So same way, in science also, this is a very important aspect where time is a very important aspect of it, which I think we must have these self-imposed deadlines. The sooner we realize it, the better it is for us. Then there is a wonderful book which is known as Freakonomics. Some of you may have read it, where every single aspect of anything that we do can be translated into economics. So if I'm here standing in front of you giving a speech, can it be translated into economics? Yes, it can be translated into. There are lights running, there are air conditioning running. So many people have invested so much of time. And when you kind of correlate it with what you actually are getting out of it, so unless there is always a cost-benefit ratio to it, it doesn't work. So I think for every aspect, every human aspect that we do, it may appear to be very materialistic, but we do have to understand that this Freakonomics, which is the title of a book, it's not my original thought, really helps. So please, this is one thought. The final thought, which relates to one small aspect, which is, if I ask all of you, what is INSA? Somebody will say, it's the oldest and the most prestigious scientific organization. Some of you will say, it is composed of outstanding scientists and people of science. who have all come together to make it a wonderful organization. Some people can say that it is this wonderful building that we have, which is responsible for whatever we have. Some people can say this is the wonderful initiatives that INSA has established over so many years. So what exactly is INSA? Is it any one of them, or is it all of them, or is it none of them? Actually, it's all of them and none of them. It's all of them because all of them are true. This is absolutely true. It actually is all of them. But there is another aspect to it. It is none of them. Because what INSA is and what our country is a notional concept. It's just that all of us have agreed in thought, word and deed to follow its principles, to follow its guidelines, to follow its whatever principles that are, and follow its inspiration. And because that notional concept is deeply ingrained within our minds, we make sure that this is actually followed. Supposing somebody says, I'm a part of INSA, but I will not follow INSA rules. What is he doing, or what is she doing? She's still following the rules. She's recognizing the rules. She's recognizing that INSA is a concept which she recognizes or he recognizes. Also recognizes that it has a set of rules which the person recognizes, and then says that I won't follow the rules. So therefore, it's very interesting thing to note actually that INSA in its entirety is a notional concept which is deeply ingrained in the minds of all those of us who are its members, who have had the honor of being its member, and also deeply ingrained in the minds of all those people who actually want to be its member at some point of time, because they understand notionally that it represents the epitome of science, it represents the excellence and recognition in the field of science, and because of that, they would all like to be members of INSA. So these are some of my thoughts on it, and I'm really grateful, and I wish you all a very National Science Day. These are just food for thoughts, and I hope that you will ponder over it, and I'm sure they will have some repercussions and some positive and negative effects. Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
So please wait. Thank you, sir, for sharing your vision with us. I now request Professor Ashutosh Sharma to please felicitate Professor Sanjay Bihari. Dr. Sanjay Bihari, sir. I request the honorable dignitaries to please join us in the first seat of audience so that we can begin with the panel discussion session. Ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at the cusp of a new era in science and innovation, one question takes center stage. How do we empower India's youth to emerge as global leaders in scientific and technological advancements? To unravel this, we now present an insightful and dynamic panel discussion on the theme, Empowering Indian Youth for Global Leadership in Science and Innovation for VIKSIT Bharat. Guiding this dialogue is our esteemed moderator, Dr. Shashi Bhushan Pandey, Scientist G, ANRF, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, whose expertise in natural resource management and policy research makes him a fitting voice to steer this discussion. Sir, I request you to please join us on dais. A big round of applause for Dr. Sashi Bhushan Pandey as he moderates the panel discussion session. Joining him on this distinguished panel are visionaries from diverse scientific and academic domains. I welcome all of them one by one. Dr. Suryakant, Program Director, Mighty Startup Hub, Shaping India's Digital and Entrepreneurial Ecosystem. Welcome, sir. Professor Bijay Lakshmi Nanda, Principal, Miranda House, University of Delhi, a champion of academic excellence and youth empowerment. Dr. Boni Ray, Assistant Professor, IIT Delhi, fostering innovation through cutting-edge research. Welcome, ma'am. Next, we have Dr. Nishant Chakraborty, Chairperson, Indian National Young Academy of Science and Associate Professor, IIT Kharagpur, mentoring the next generation of scientific minds. Welcome, sir. Dr. Veda Krishnan, Senior Scientist, ICAR, IARI, pioneering advancements in agricultural science. Welcome to the dais, ma'am. Without further ado, let's dive into this power-packed conversation. I now hand over the stage to Dr. Sashi Bhushan Pandey. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, all. And welcome to this session, panel discussion session. And acknowledging the previous speakers, Professor Balram Bhargav, Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji, and other dignitaries on the dais, the panel discussion is definitely well connected to the theme of the year for this National Science Day, that is empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovation for VIKSIT Bharat. So, welcoming all the dignitaries on the dais today, just to set the context for the discussion that we are going to have as a panel one. It would be a privilege to just remember about the National Science Day, as we all know, and it has been recalled that it's actually to commemorate the discovery by Sir C.V. Raman, that's the Raman effect. And as we know that he was born on 7th November 1888, and in 1928 the Raman effect was discovered by him at the age of 40, and then the Nobel Prize was earned by him in later 2 years, that is in 1930. So at the age of 42, he won the Nobel Prize. Why I am mentioning is that in his remarks, Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji mentioned that it's the very young country, and more than 65% of the population is workable, and a majority of them are, I mean, average number is 28. So the coming decades is definitely ours. That is, it belongs to youth, and it's a great coincidence, and it's a very relevant to remember on this day to commemorate Raman's discovery, saying that at the age of 42 he earned his Nobel Prize. And then there is a second point which is very relevant to connect and set the context of this discussion, is that once we say science and innovation, which both words are there in the theme of this year, then as we know in Raman's discovery that the light fell on a transparent material, and when it got scattered, then due to scattering, some loss of energy or maybe gain of energy happened, and that's how the wavelength or frequency changed. So that's the science part. But later, once we see that what all happened as an application, then we will see, and we all know, that some innovative ideas out of that scientific discovery was made, where we know that not only in security measures Raman effect applications are used, for example in airports, testing for explosives and dangerous materials. In industries also it has been used largely to identify different kind of materials, plastics and so on. Medicines, to test different kind of fluids using a spectrometer is another very innovative way which has been used in medical field. Then food safety is another societal use. We use Raman effect to understand if there is any contamination and so on. So connecting the scientific discovery, that's a scientific thought, that here is the light and optical light fell on a transparent material and it got scattered and frequency or wavelength got changed, and then few innovative ideas were suggested by the community. So once we say the word innovation, definitely it has societal angles, because the word innovation is definitely, that's use innovation to apply science and technology to address certain societal issue or some problem where we live in this world is the idea. So definitely, again coming back to the title of today, theme of today, that is empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovation for VIKSIT Bharat. Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji has already set the context, and it's very, I would say, very rich theme is there. So science and innovation, it's very relevant to discuss this point on this day, because the Raman effect, how the science got converted into innovation, and we are talking about empowering Indian youth, because at the moment we know that we are one of the most youngest country, and we are going to be like this for another decades or so. So keeping this in mind and targeting that how by 2047 the VIKSIT Bharat goal would be achieved by empowering this youth is the main goal. So by setting this title broadly in this context, I would now like to introduce the panelists before we go and further discuss. So we have as a panelist we have Dr. Suryakant as the Director of the Programs Policy Partnership at Mighty Startup Hub. Dr. Suryakant plays a pivotal role in shaping India's digital and entrepreneurial landscape. He collaborates with various stakeholders to foster innovation and support startups across the nation. His efforts are instrumental in creating conducive environment for technological advancement and economic growth. And then we have second panelist towards the right, Dr. Bahani Ray. Dr. Bahani Ray serves as the Assistant Professor in Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Her research focuses on fostering innovation through cutting-edge studies in her field. Dr. Ray is dedicated to mentoring students and contributing to the advancement of technology and science education in India. Welcome. And then we have Dr. Nishant Chakrabarti. He is Associate Professor in IIT Kharagpur and currently chairs the Indian National Young Academy of Science, INYAS. He is committed to mentoring emerging scientists, promoting interdisciplinary research. His leadership in INYAS reflects his dedication to empower young researchers and fostering scientific excellence. Then we have Dr. Veda Krishnan, Senior Scientist at ICAR. And Dr. Veda Krishnan is a Senior Scientist at ICAR She is recognized for her pioneering work in agricultural science, focusing on developing sustainable farming practices and innovative solutions to enhance crop productivity. Her research significantly contributes to advancing India's agricultural sector. So again, extending warm welcome to all the panelists sitting on the dais, and the context which I tried to set upon. Coming back again, that science and innovation as per the theme for empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science innovation for the VIKSIT Bharat. How we can achieve this global leadership using our youth, that's one of the youngest country, how we can achieve that and how we can set the goal for 2047 to become global leadership around this theme. And in the discussions happened in this session earlier by the previous speakers, Professor Balaram Bhargavji and Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji. In my opinion, there are a couple of, if we try to subdivide this broader and very rich theme under a smaller portion for India kind of young country and a developing nation with lot of achievements which was summarized by Professor Bhargav just now in his talk nicely. We have certain gaps and areas which we need to work on, and a few of them could be like how we can bridge the education and innovation. For example, India is a vast country and we have some education system, and innovation is a word which has been largely used, I would say fairly recently. That's in the last decade or so. Before that also this word was there, of course, and as mentioned by Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji, that starting from just 100 innovations reaching to more than 1.4 lakhs innovations and so on, it's a big thing, and this field is emerging quite faster. Another possible theme that could be a point of discussion among panelists, and please correct me if you have certain ideas, that how to connect Indian innovators to global research hubs. Because once we say that we have increased the number from 100 to 1.4 lakhs, it means the multifold, acknowledgements are there that such innovations are there and are listed, and many of them are not abroad but from the Indian origin. People have worked here and they have got some innovative ideas. Some patents have been just developed here and are listed here within the country. No international intervention and no internal support is required. But how to strengthen it more so that we can get many more such things. Third important thing which is there in our society and probably we need to touch upon, as mentioned by Professor Sharma, that bicycles have two wheels, and we have seen the lack of women representation under these areas. So how to strengthen that? How to foster women's leadership in science and innovation? Another possible area is that addressing ethical and sustainability concerns in innovation. So innovation, if we connect things to our culture, then ethics are very important, and as an international practices also ethical behavior and ethical aspects and their sustainability concerns are also very important. And then another thing which have emerged, and as mentioned by Professor Ashutosh Sharma ji, that and the previous speakers, and just few minutes back by Professor Sanjay Bihari ji, that the way Sri Chitra developments have happened, and now I think the medical equipments are going to be highly subsidized and cost effective, going to be made available for the whole country, that how government and industry collaborations for youth empowerment can happen, and how we can use emerging technologies to address this broad theme of this year. So I think that under these top level requirements, for the theme of the day, that is for the National Science Day of 2025. I would like to start the panel discussion, and may I request the panelists so that I can come one by one to all of you, and let's try to see where we land up in next half an hour or so. Thank you. Just if I start from my right hand side to our panelists, Dr. Nishant Chakrabarti, and just if I can ask him whether if we talk about, for example, bridging education and innovation gaps, and if I ask that, what are the key challenges faced by Indian youth in bridging the gap between education and the real world innovation, as you are heading the INEAS activities? How do you see, sir, that how can we address such kind of question under the theme of the National Science Day?
Thank you, Dr. Pandey, and I think you have set the stage very well. Yeah, I hope you're able to hear me. Yeah, so you've set the stage very well for the burning questions that we have related to the theme of this year's National Science Day, which mentions empowering Indian youth for global leadership in science and innovation for VIKSIT Bharat. So if you look at the journey of India since independence, I think we have been on a very good track and probably on an accelerated track over the last 10 years or so in terms of our research and development. So since today morning we have been hearing different talks by different experts, and one common theme that came out of these talks was the fast pace of development that we are on. So at this stage, I think we are able to see, I guess the number is around close to 200 unicorns that the country has already produced. So obviously there is something right that we have clicked a note upon, which is helping us to move towards a faster pace of development. But of course, as you rightly mentioned, there are a lot of challenges that we have. As a member of the Indian National Young Academy of Science, and presently for the last 1 year I am chairing it as well. So what we strive to achieve here is we are trying to bring in the people from all the different walks of life in academia specifically, because it's an academy of scientists. Additionally, what we are also trying to see is when we are trying to bring in people, it is not focused on one particular area of science. So if you look at the disciplines that we are covering, we are trying to cover all the major aspects of science, which includes, for example, the basic sciences, physical, chemical, biology. But in addition, we are also having earth sciences, we are also having medical science, we are having engineering sciences as a specific domain. We have recently introduced another category where we are trying to bring in the entrepreneurs, people who are interested in startups. So it is not like the conventional way, just like as scientists we tend to publish a lot of papers, but there the idea is on development of different types of maybe technologies, equipments, where they would want to first probably go ahead for a patent and then move towards commercialization. So rather than going into the conventional publication model, they would focus more upon product development. So we just do not focus on the conventional path of academia, but we need to also focus on people who want to really make a difference. So I mean, even today morning I was also hearing about this very nice initiative about this one day as a scientist initiative by our Honorable Prime Minister. So it's not that only a PhD holder is a scientist. If you look at the recent trends, even citizen scientist as a concept is coming up in a big way. So I think what we need to encourage amongst our community at large is that whoever wants to do science, we need to try and give that information as academicians and spread the word in such a way that everybody who has a desire to perform science can go ahead and do their bit as much in their way as possible, and then take it from there with more better training and And that will obviously involve a lot of other aspects that we need to cover. Yeah, I would like to pass it on to others before I move again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nishan. If I may add one more question before we come to the next speaker, is that all right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Please.
so this is just the very connecting question, and you very rightly pointed out that how we are trying to address the broad question to achieve the theme of the year. So second connecting question, which is quite relevant, that what are the possible risks and opportunities for young scientists working with, let us say, disruptive technologies which are largely used to create a lot of innovations?
Right. I mean, so today we are living in the age of AI, and which is one of the burning questions amongst all minds. Like, we tend to hear a lot of concerns with the upcoming AI technologies, and people are asking that, is it going to take away my job or not? I mean, you see, a similar kind of a concern was raised when even computers started coming in. But we have realized that over the time, it has only improvised and helped us with our jobs, activities, bring in new kinds of jobs. So disruptive innovation will always be there, and it is always there for the goodness of humanity, rather than considering only the concerns, which obviously will be there, and we understand. We need to work around those concerns. We should not be tamed by AI, rather we are the people who have created AI, so we need to be in a position where we can work around AI and try to utilize our concepts to keep AI in a much more contained way, which of course is a journey which has just started, and this is not something which we can do it in one day. The people who are developing it are yet focusing on what could be the possible mechanisms. So it is an ongoing debate at this stage, and we need to figure out, this is just one example. AI is not the only be it and end all. We will have multiple other types of technologies which will come in, where we may probably have to think about what could be the possible challenges. Like even during the COVID period, we came across certain technologies like mRNA vaccines. For the first time they were introduced. But and again, there were a lot of concerns raised there as well. But if you do our homework properly, I think we will be left with lesser chances of the concerns and more chances of having better outcomes of them. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Nishant. And in the morning session also, Dr. Vempati, when he was talking about AIs and its pros and cons, then also it was very clearly mentioned that if we want to use it as a frugal one, then we need to be very careful about what is right and what is wrong, whether we have really the right kind of content given at the right platform. And that's how if for the very vast amount of literature which is not available online in Indian context, which is there somewhere lying in libraries, and if using AI tools, Indian AI tools, if we really put it in the right context, in the right way, in different languages, and try to bring it at international forum in some way, which is purely Indianized, ethical, as well as with full proof of concept that yes, it is the most authentic stuff which can be used. So then not only we will get a better outcome, but it also be recognized globally that India had these things earlier as well. Thanks a lot. So under this context, and thanks for your insightful comments on the questions that were put up in the under the broad theme. So just flipping to another side and just trying to bring Dr. Surikant into these discussions and talking about connecting Indian innovators to global research hubs. This is another important side, I believe, to address this broad theme of the year, Dr. Surikant. So may I like you to comment on what kind of initiatives can be introduced to strengthen international collaborations and knowledge exchange from IT side with a lot of startups as you are looking for, Can you please comment on
Thank
this
you.
broad question?
Thank you so much, Dr. Pandey, and thank you so much, Professor Sharma, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Pandey. It's really good to be here, and especially on the occasion of National Science Day. And now, after listening to Dr. Bihari, I can imagine why Professor Sharma was praising that next talk he will only talk about what you spoke. Right? So it's really good and interesting. When we talk about even the science of the innovation, so it starts with an idea. Rightly what Professor Sharma said during his session, that idea itself is a huge word and you can't define and you can't limit itself. If I can ask you a simple question, that could you tell me the Hindi of idea? Whatever Hindi words will be coming into your mind, there must be an alternative word of that Hindi will be coming to that idea. People used to say it's a soch, okay, it's thought, it's a vichar. Anybody from the audience, any Hindi from idea? Anybody? Chintan, right? Again, thoughts, anything. So that you can imagine that even though considering about the innovation, because innovation start with the idea, and obviously the whole idea conversion goes with the innovation and science and technology related to the vertical. It's a huge word. In India, we have a lot of government schemes, government initiative. The grant is the foremost thing which we have. And every ministry has a multiple grant, many of the ministries related to the innovation or the science or the startup as well as. Talking about the Ministry of Electronics and IT, rightly what Professor Sharma said, that there is a huge confusion and multiple, engagements are there, that how METI is supporting startup, how DST is supporting startups. So we have a one division called METI Startup Hub. It's an independent business division under the Ministry of Electronics and IT, who supports startup through various schemes as a grant. And then a part of those supporting structure, we have a vertical called program. Under the program, it's not like that a dedicated or curation for the certain acceleration program for the startup. It have a various mandate. So we work with the industry corporates, giants, different events also. We take our startup delegation to those events, whether it's a national or in the international. We do launch joint innovative program to support startup into science and technology. I'll quote here a recent example that everybody is talking about the semiconductor. Funding a startup or providing 10-20 lakh rupees of grant to a startup who is working into the semiconductor industry, it's peanut for them. But what we did, that we jointly collaborated with Micron and we launched this acceleration program for the startups where we will be shortlisting 5 to 10 startups. Just to provide a monetary support, we will be funding them up to 10 lakh of rupees. In few of cases, it may go up to 25 lakh also. But what the best part of this program is that Micron will be providing their R&D facility to those startups. That is where research comes into. So that is what the charm of this program. Similarly, for example, everybody knows that Israel, France are the best country for the defense related innovation. So in France, VIVATech is an event which is hosted every year related to the technology and the innovation. Our Honorable Prime Minister also visited to this event. Our Minister Shri Ashwini Vaishnav also visited to this event. We were during the first edition of this VIVATech event, India was the country of the year for this VIVATech. We do understand about that country and what kind of collaboration we can do into this domain. So that's how we curated the Indian delegation of the startups. So that completely taken care by us. There is no monetary engagement from the startup. That hold the fund of this visit and the setting up the Indian pavilion is taken care by the government of the India. And then we took 25 startup as a delegation, considering about that what kind of technology will be a good fit for a business opportunity to these startups. I'm glad to share that 70% of these startups who visited there in 2023 are still doing business with France. So these are kind of international opportunities, the engagement and the corporate engagement through which we are providing support to the startup. I'll quote one more example here. With Meta, we launched the Meta XR program for the support of the startup who are into the XR technology. We identified 50 plus startup under this program, and all these 50 plus startup were awarded with 5 lakh rupees of grant. But once we completed the 6 month of the cohort, then after completion of the cohort, we shortlisted the 5 top startup from this cohort, and these 5 top startup were part of the delegation taken by Meta to the Silicon Valley HQ visit to understand about the XR technology and how they can work with the Meta team. So these are the multiple initiatives we are trying to support startup, especially in terms of the global engagement part.
Thank you, Dr. Suryakanji. I think it's good to know that how MIT is really doing in this direction. But just little more, if you can elaborate that under the government and industry collaboration, especially targeting towards the youth, empowerment, as in the theme of the year, youth empowerment is there. So if we just try to little more understand that what initiatives have been successful in linking academia, industry and government to empower young scientists particularly, then I mean if you may like to
Great.
add a few more.
Great. Yeah, interestingly, in 2023 when India was hosting G20 presidency, the METI was also assigned a domain under the G20. We call it a Digital Innovation Alliance, so G20 DIA. That time period also and till now also, what we have realized that awareness is indeed a highly needed part, especially for the youth. Because if they will not get the right set of knowledge, they will not able to execute whatever their idea is. So currently what we have that we have over 115 incubation center to whom we are supporting to support the startups for the fund, which is like somewhere around 800 crores of the fund size. So 95% of these incubation center are based out of the academic institution. So whenever we do any kind of program or scheme launch, the first what we do that we create awareness camp. We launch awareness camp to setting up about the what exactly we are trying to do, how we are going to support the startups and how it can benefit your idea if you have anything. Similarly, similar to the not only limited to the incubation center but also engaging the different corporates. Again, I'll quote one example for Google. So in last 2 years, what we did with Google that we launched a program called App Scale Academy. What we tried to identify that any idea, it's not about the startup, any idea who is working into the startup ecosystem but related to the app business. So doodh wala, pan wala, kirana wala, all those things, any kind of this business idea. If you have idea or if you already have a business, but if it's into the early stage. So we did all India roadshow, more than 15 academic institutions were part of this, including the Northeast also. And after the whole all India roadshow, we had somewhere around 3,000 plus applications, and out of those applications, we shortlisted 100 startups. All these 100 startups were being nurtured by the Google, by the METI and the industry experts with their science and technology and innovation, whatever technology they are trying to put into. And after completion of the 100 days of the acceleration program, we hosted a demo day for them. That is about for the investment, how these startups can get the fund, from where they can get the fund. Interestingly, these startups were able to raise 350 crores of the fund from the investment. So starting from the idea, creating that spark through the academic institution, then nurturing them throughout the program, and then providing them funding support. And all these 350 CR which I'm quoting you right now is nowhere a government grant, it's external funding. So whenever we do launch any kind of initiative, we first start with the academic institution. We try to collaborate with the many of the corporate also, if they can provide similar to Micron or the Google. This year what we are doing with Google, that we made it large and we renamed the program called Google for Startups, which is being run across IIT Delhi, is also one of the supporting partner into this. It includes not only the workshop, seminar, hackathon, roadshow, boot camp, multiple activities, and we are trying to, with the we have put a target that at least 10,000 people should be part of this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Surikanji. Now, just extending the discussions towards again bridging the education and the innovation gap, if I may take Dr. Veda Krishnan, the senior scientist, ICAR. Madam, can you please comment on what are the key challenges faced by Indian youth? Because again, connected with the Indian youth, because it's the theme of the this
Day,
National
yeah.
Science Day. So, what are the key challenges faced by Indian youth in bridging the gap between education and the real world innovation?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pandey. Really delighted to be here as a representative of youth, even though I'm not belonging to that age bracket, it seems. But first of all, I want to congratulate INSA to be one of the pioneer in curating such panel discussions in a very gender inclusive as well as age inclusive manner. I think that shows the importance of youth despite the theme of the day. Regarding the challenge, what I felt really is it is not the exposure, because currently we know that the Google is on your fingertips, but along with the awareness, how much you can penetrate, not only in the metro cities, but also connecting to the rural, and how can you, with those mass programs, how can we scale it up according to the size of the country? I think that is one major challenge. The other thing, we have to target the youth at a very early age. I am also a beneficiary of one of the program, which is called Promotion of Excellence Among Gifted Children. So I was really lucky to be part of the program at an age of 14. So that was a 2-year intense program where we get exposure to research institutes. That was the first time we are meeting a scientist, just like the Prime Minister mentioned today, you live as a scientist a day. So I think those kind of an early exposure, it is very important so that you can dream and aspire to get into science. I think that is very important. The other challenge is what I see is the system of learning we have, even though a lot of rewiring is happening these days through NEP 2020 as well as other. But I think the cultural change, we have to make the youth ready to, learn to fail fast. I think those kind of a cultural change is very much required. The problems solving thinking, and also how you can leverage various platforms in that direction. We understand a lot of tinkering labs and so on is happening these days, but I think more such activities are very much required. We have to learn, unlearn and relearn every day according to the need and according to the problems. I think these are the challenges, and as part of International Young Academy as well as the Global Young Academy as a member, we are really trying hard to do a lot of outreach programs, as Professor Sharma mentioned, like Manak. We also have a lot of rural connecting programs like RU Setup, where we bring the kids from the rural schools to state-of-art laboratories to make them feel, to give them that exposure, that is what is happening at IIT, so that they can dream and come back to these institutions for studying and so on. I think these kind of exposure training at a very early age is very important to tackle the challenges that is existing in this particular system. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Veda. Thanks for this insightful thought process of yours. May I just touch upon the women's leadership in science and innovation, and may I ask, what is your opinion that what kind of barriers do women face in STEM fields, and how they can be addressed? What is your opinion about it?
Let me tell, I think this is one of the most common questions we all face. It is a very gender sensitive question.
No, but I mean,
yeah, I understand.
The bicycles and the two
yes,
wheels,
yes,
they are
yes.
equally important.
Yes,
so
yes.
this question is very relevant, and
I
because
understand.
the number is still less in SNT. True. So it has to be like 50-50. So well along those directions, if I may know your opinion.
Yes. So again, let me start with the disclaimer. This is not my personal experience. I think I was part of a very privileged lot to get a very good education, have a social fabric, which was very, promoting all the genders in a way. So I'm part of Kerala, where there was a lot of empowerment for women, even at an early age. But through various interactions, through INYAS as well as GYE, I said, we had a lot of interactions where we understand why there are only very few women in STEM. Not only women at an early stage, I think now we say is that there is a good number, but why they are not going to the top of the career ladder? Why don't we have women at the leadership position? I think that is the main question that we want to address. I have a very different take on this. I'm not getting into the systematic thinking ways where people says that, you know, the flexible timing is required, or the professional journey, or the time that women dedicate for a family and personal, the juggling that women have. I understand and I personally accept, because that is a social fabric which might take a lot of time to evolve. But other than that, my suggestion to my young girls who are here is, I think there are certain things that you can also imbibe and be part of that change. So one thing that I want to say is, as I mentioned, it is very important to have a professional and personal support if you are really passionate and you want to achieve your dreams. So please try to develop that kind of a support system, because other than that, it is really hard to navigate through the academia landscape. Because at the top of the pyramid, you are very isolated. So we say that it's a bus journey in the start and it's like a Ferrari at the top. So, you know, it is very difficult. So you need a personal support system, so that a sisterhood which can really help you, support you, motivate you. The second thing is, have a partner, a real partner in all the sense. So who can collaborate with you, who can share each and every responsibility, so that, you know, to an extent you can lean on whenever you need. So you don't have to have always like, I have to be the real taskmaster of the house, but you can also lean on somebody, your partner. So that is very important. Second thing, most of the time the gender has a natural innate thing of, we shy away from our opportunities, right? So it is the time that you should grab a chair and sit at the table. You have to share your opinion. It is very important. Don't wait for others to welcome you to share the opinion. I think this is also very important that we have to learn, because if you want your voice to be heard, then you have to start speaking. It is very important. Yeah. And the other thing is, most of the time, as a PI of the project, when many of the research fellows came, they actually planned too early. Right? The years after, whatever they're planning, they think ahead and they try to lean or wave away from the opportunities. Please don't do that. Whatever comes to your way, take it as such and try to give your 100%. I think there are a lot of people to support, wonderful gentlemen also in the academia who is supporting us. So it is not that, you know, you don't have to be worried too much, but I think it is more welcoming these days. So these challenges we can tackle together. So I think at the top and over the journey, please also learn the skills that is required for leadership. Communication is very important. Emotional intelligence is very important, because when you say that I want to be a leader, I think we also have to take up those skills on the way, so that, you know, we have to be ready for that. So I think these kind of self-development, if you can do on the way, I think as I think today Honorable Minister mentioned that the Empress of CSIR is doing excellent than many of the emperors before. I think Dr. Kalesh Alvi has made a wonderful role model. I think such role models are really, you know, these are the boost, or like those kind of things actually really give a lot of support to many more women in future. So I'm really positive about it that we can see many more women leaders in future.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Veda, for your encouraging words for the community. Now flipping the side and just going to our next panelist, Dr. Bahani, may I request you to just comment on the flip side, that is another aspects which have been not addressed in this session. If I may ask, what do you think, that what role do mentorship programs play in fostering young innovators? Because ultimately we are talking about innovation and so on. So may I know your comment that how to strengthen the theme of the year by addressing such questions?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for calling me for the panel discussion, the organizing committee. Yeah, so regarding this young innovators, so by the term young, sometimes we think of young as young, the young faculty are the young, or the college students are the young, or the school students are the young. So if we think of the school students, so I could say that we should start from there, which Dr. Veda also said, that we should start from the school level. There should be a mentorship from the school level. We should not just teach the textbook which are there. There should be some thought process. We should give them a problem and tell them, okay, think of it, and then you discuss about it with your friends. So in some schools, a flipped kind of classroom have started. So they give the topic and they ask to discuss in a group of 3 or 4 friends, and they come up with the discussion. So that is something which is a good idea. Second point is, as we see that now there are different schemes for, again, school students to give different projects. They get chances to show their work. So that is another thing where they get this chance and they could showcase. And sometimes they go for the startup, as we have seen. There are some schemes as well, which the panel members have said. But in all the steps, we need a mentor, because mentor is somebody who has experience, who has more knowledge about that topic. Sometimes the young innovators have something which they think is the best option, but that may not be the best option. There will be multiple of that. So the mentor will know that, okay, if you go through this option, there may be some hardships in the later stage. So mentorship is very important. So as a faculty in IIT Delhi, I feel that these mentorships come a lot when we give our BTech project or MTech project, or sometimes when there is some summer project coming. And sometimes some students from outside colleges also come for summer internships. So that is the place we work as a mentor. So we give them some problem, and we give them that this is a technique you can use, but you are free to use your own technique. But these are the different ways you can do. And since we have internet today, they know all the techniques, like will we do computational, or in computational will you use this software, that software. So they are free to use that, because that is not the main challenge. The main challenge is which thing you are targeting, which problem you are targeting to solve. And obviously, each of the innovators are different. Each of them will take different time. So give them the time, and that innovator should also take his own time. They should not be in a hurry to produce something. So that's what I think mentorship is very important, from even the school level to the college level. And even as now I am a professor, and it's written wrong, I am an associate now, sorry. So in that way, when I see this, that I also need a mentor as a professor, as a mentor to guide me which projects I should write. So it's not that I do not need a mentor. So mentorship is needed in all stages. Even a friend could be a mentor. So mentorship, as I think, is very important because of his experience, of his knowledge, which is there. And that is how the innovation could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Bahani. Thanks for your comment on this broad requirement. And as you have come across your journey to IIT Delhi, just if I may know your brief comment to let the audience know under this broad theme that in your journey and career to this professor level in IIT Delhi kind of illustrious organization, have you come across some policies and programs that have successfully helped to empower women scientists and innovators?
Yes, yes. So there are lot of schemes which are there in government level. So there are this, for the PhD students, there is this Wise Kiran, which we know we have the power scheme, which is given, which was given before, but now I don't know whether after the change in the rules whether it is still there. But yes, schemes are there. Even international collaboration schemes are there for women, like women visiting some international college for 6 months or 3 months. Those schemes are also there. But what is lacking is whether all the women know about it. So there should be again some panel of, maybe it could be in every institute there should be some panel where we should get to know that, okay, these are the schemes which are available. Again, the mentor and these two are again linked in a way. Like it's not only for women which are the schemes are, but even the young men who are joining, like after me, the young generation who are joining, they also are just facing that which projects I should apply, should I get the funding or not. So that kind of informations are sometimes lacking. So that kind of thing I think is needed. But yes, there are a lot of women's schemes which are there. And also in institute level also, some institutes have the schemes where they give special program where women could apply. And also here in this INSA, which I am associate fellow the last year, so that I think this age, the age factor is something which helped me a lot, because for women the age factor was still 40, which I luckily I was just 40 when I applied, but if it was 35, which is for young men, I could not have done that. So these things are also there. all kind of things. There are options that where women are given this age factor relaxation as well. So, but everyone should keep eye to that what are the schemes there. But before that, obviously you need that idea, what to write to that scheme. The idea should be there, which you think that, okay, this will come fruitful, let it make like a story, what are the literatures already done, what new I am doing, and then look into the schemes which are there. If you apply, obviously, if you successfully present your work, you will get that. Yeah.
Thanks, Professor Behni, and thanks to the panelists for this extensive discussion. Since time is less, before we conclude, may I have just a brief comment from Dr. Nishant, please, to just briefly mention that what are those key steps that should be taken to position Indian youth as global leaders in science and innovation, because we are talking about the global strengthening and so on. Just briefly, if you can touch upon.
Sure, Dr. Pandey. Thank you. I mean, you see, we keep on discussing about these issues, but as I think you must be aware that unless we are coming to a platform where we can discuss these, it will be very difficult for us to communicate. So recently, for example, amongst the young academies of the world, so we had a meeting of 8 of the global young academies, different parts of the world, so which included Germany, Poland, Austria, Israel, and Global Young Academy as well in INIAS. So we were trying to see that as a platform, if we can bring most of the academies of the world together, and specifically focusing on young scientists, where we come up with certain common projects. And that is just one idea where we can bring in young leaders, young scientific leaders, who can have a platform of their own, which they can work upon and look for options in their own countries, at the same time at the global platform as well, where they can probably consider it as a step to move forward from there on. So that is just one example. Such ideas and such possibilities should also be explored at the academies level in each national academy. So for example, conventionally, if you look at the National Science Day celebrations as well, so probably this time it has been a bit of an oversight that we see INSA here. It's generally INSA and INIAS together that we are conducting the activities for the National Science Day. So this time also, if you look at the program that we have, so we have INIAS's event, including INSA's events in this Science Day celebration. So unless we have a platform where the young scientists or the young community works together with the other people, the senior academy fellows, senior scientists, it will not be a level playing field for everyone, where people can express their opinions, where people can discuss things in a much more cohesive way, so that they can work together and move forwards and for the future of the country.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Nishant. And before we conclude, just a last question, since Mighty representation is there and you are looking for startup hubs. So just aiming for this VIKSIT Bharat aim, and as a part of the theme, may I know what role should the private sector play in nurturing and funding young scientists and entrepreneurs
Interesting.
to have VIKSIT Bharat?
Absolutely. So, Dr. Pandey, as you know, lastly, I mentioned about the engagement with the industry, academia, and the government initiative collaboration. So, there are multiple corporate entities also. It's not only about the Google, Meta, and so with whom we are working. So, that engagement requires improvement and needs the higher engagement. So, not at a certain shorter level, but I'll touch upon the other part also, which I think everyone should be aware about, because looking into the contest and the VIKSIT Bharat mission, which we talk about, so what we have introduced for the startup ecosystem the first time, because out of the 150,000 startups which we can see across, moreover the 60% of startups are based out of the non-metro cities, tier 2, tier 3 cities. So first time in India, the central government has launched a scheme named Genesis, which is for startups, and where we are providing funding support as a grant to the startups, idea starting from 10 lakh and goes to the deep tech startup up to 1 CR. Interestingly, when I say first time, that there is no such scheme in India launched by any central government agency where it is only eligible for the startups or the incubation center who are based out of the non-metro cities. So upfront, the startups or incubation center based out of the Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru, Pune, Hyderabad, Chandigarh are not eligible. Because we have observed in the past various scheme and grant that many of the schemes are easily grabbed by the only startups, mostly 90% of the startups based out of the metro cities. So this is first time we have launched. So focusing over the young people, obviously, so it's hard to define in India as again young people. 35 वाले भी young में आते हैं और 50s वाले भी young ही हैं, नौ युवा ही हैं. So it's very difficult. You can't say that who are young. But yes, obviously, for us, we are talking about the young people who are into the college or the students. 10 lakh rupees grant is also being provided to your idea. So call for application, we have 65 incubation center who are based out of the completely non-metro cities. If you can go through the METI Startup Hub website, I'm sure that out of those 65, you definitely get to know that there are the certain cities you haven't heard about. Whether it's about the Samba in Jammu and Kashmir, whether it's about the Kannauj in UP or Trichy or Northeast you can talk about, many of the cities are there. In those cities, not even a single central government startup scheme have reached yet. So this is the penetration we have put with the vision of the VIKSIT Bharat, that we have to increase the awareness and the richness. Another interesting vertical which I'll be quoting as a last, that suppose you have a startup and you got certain POC from any of the entity, whether it's a government or the private, anywhere. And the POC amount is like 50 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh, but you don't have money to execute. We have a POC based grant. Again, it's the first of its kind. You can simply have to provide us POC, and based on that POC, we can provide you up to 40 lakh rupees of grant. So this is the vision we are putting with VIKSIT Bharat mission, that every scheme which we are trying to curate should reach to the every part of the country.
Thank you, Dr. Surikant, and it's fantastic panel, and with their vast experience, it can go hours and hours, I'm sure. Yeah, please. Yes. Yeah.
The last presenter reminded me two things, so I just wanted to add that. There was a deliberation on Mera Yuva Bharat, which INSA also participated. So upskilling is a very important agenda of the government as well as the need of the hour. So please, all the young minds here, you can go to the website of Mera Yuva Bharat. So there is actually, it's a matchmaking where the industry is coming with the skills that they need, and then you can actually plan for the courses that can match that particular thing. So that then you are getting more, be ready for the industry jobs. That is one thing. The other thing I want to add is the unconventional universities are coming up. You might be knowing about the Tetar University and more, where real life situations are given to the candidates and they are learning for negotiations. They are going to the gold market. They are building their own business. I think those kind of more unconventional universities, I think that is the future. I think India is now ready for that, and I think we are really looking forward for such innovations.
Yeah,
thank you.
Very nice. Thanks, Dr. Veda, for mentioning this about this unconventional way, and that is another innovative way to put education into the real practice and to address real world problems and for societal benefits and so on. So these discussions can go for hours and hours, but due to time constraints and other programs are already lining up the next program. I again extending my sincere thanks to all the panelists. I would like to extend my sincere thanks again, and I would now like to over to the dais.
A heartfelt thank you to our esteemed panelists and the moderator of this session for an insightful and inspiring discussion. I request Dr. Shashi Bhushan Pandey to felicitate the esteemed panelists now. First, we have Dr. Nishant Chakraborty, INSA Chair and Associate Professor at IIT Kharagpur. I now welcome Dr. Veda Krishnan, Senior Scientist, ICAR, IARI. I now welcome Dr. Boni Ray, Associate Professor, IIT Delhi. I now welcome Dr. Suryakant, Program Director, Mighty Startup Hub. Thank you to the moderator and panelists. I now request the dignitaries to please join us in the audience. Meanwhile, I would like to welcome on stage Dr. Kalpana Nagpal, Dr. Mohit Tyagi, Dr. Nishan Chakraborty, and Ms. Suvira Srivastav for the next set of program lined up. It is my utmost prestige and honor to invite Dr. Kinkini Dasgupta Mishra to kindly felicitate the moderator of our panel discussion session, Dr. Shashi Bhushan Pandey. So, Dr. Pandey, I please request you to please be on stage. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, today INSA and INYAS gather here to celebrate the outshining initiative of INYAS, that is Saransh Thesis Presentation Competition. It is my sincere pleasure to invite on the podium Dr. Nishan Chakraborty, Chairperson, Indian National Young Academy of Science and Associate Professor at IIT Kharagpur, to enlighten us and guide us through the journey of INYAS and Saransh from his lens. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ananya. Thanks a lot. So, Saransh has been a dream of INYAS over the last 4 years. This was the 4th edition of Saransh, actually. And for those who are not aware of Saransh, basically it's how we communicate science to the general audience. So most of the times it so happens that we are so much occupied in the kind of science that we do that it becomes very difficult for us to communicate it to the common people. So let's say, for example, if I just want to talk about my research to my family, to my mother, many a times I start using jargon which is completely alien to them. And hence we thought about, of course, the background comes from multiple similar competitions which we have witnessed, but we thought about it and we thought that how we can come up with a plan where we try to allow our young generation of scientists to talk to the common people who are not very well conversant in science, yet they would want to know about the kind of work that we are doing. So after all, at the end of the day, most of the times the kind of research that is happening in our country is through our taxpayers' money. So they have every right to know the kind of work that we are doing. So as a result of which, the outcome was Saransh, where all the PhD students who are eligible, they can present their stories about the kind of work that they are doing in 3 minutes of time and with just 3 presentation slides. So we were really grateful to Springer Nature this time, and specifically Dr. Suvira is here with us. I'm really thankful to Dr. Suvira, and since she has been waiting for a very long time and she has to catch a flight, before talking more in details, I would hand it over to Dr. Suvira to please share her thoughts. And we are very grateful for your sponsorship with the award. Please come over.
Thank you so much, Nishant. In fact, today is really, really very special for me, and you'll come to know about it why. You know, when hearing the dignitaries which were present over here, there was so much of discussion about Sir C.V. Raman, and last year I had the honor and privilege of seeing the personal collection of Sir C.V. Raman, and when the curator took me around, it was so heartening to see that how an assistant accountant journal who started his actually professional journey like that in Indian Finance Service at the age of 19 went on to make us proud by getting the Nobel Prize, not just for India but also the first one in Asia. And this actually shows what curiosity can do for us. And in fact, when we were hearing the panel discussion, we heard from Suryakant ji about the idea, and of course Dr. Ashutosh Sharma spoke about Saraswati and Lakshmi, a combination of that, and then Veda spoke about communication. So it is all a combination of that which makes which gives us an opportunity which can actually lead our country to VIKSIT Bharat that we all are looking at. And when we are talking about VIKSIT Bharat and also about innovation, the 2 lines that come to my mind is, यूं ज़मीं पर बैठकर क्यों आसमां देखता है, यूं ज़मीं पर बैठकर क्यों आसमां देखता है, पंखों को खोल ज़माना सिर्फ उड़ान देखता है. And when you have that kind of uran, for giving you that kind of uran, there are inspiring initiatives like what Saransh has done, because it is fine to have curiosity, it is fine to innovate. You may get all the funding that government is trying to give you, but until or unless you communicate that effectively to a person like me who may not be understanding what you are trying to do, then we will not be having the kind of stalwarts that you heard today from, there's no need in naming them. They were all brilliant today, and that's because they have that communication skills which we all have to build. So when, Nishant and Inyas, we all started talking about it, I realized that, this is something which is very close to my heart and the heart of the organization that I represent, Springer Nature. For me, INSA is home. I've been working with INSA since 2010. We have been publishing their first journal that we got associated with, Indian Journal of Pure and Applied Mathematics, and I can't see, as usual, Sudhanshu is outside. He's always there, not ever inside, with whom we were so closely associated. And then in 2021, we started publishing their 2 other journals, and then the journey goes on forever and ever. But I started my journey with the Indian Academies in 2007 when I became the publishing editor of Indian Academy of Sciences journals. And then now my team handles, the journals of INSA, IAS, INA, and even NASI. We are the publishers of all these. So for us, Saransh is something that we do all the time, and we really want you all to understand the importance of communication. The communication or the papers that we disseminate. So you know, globally, giving you a global platform, literally giving you the wings. So for me as an individual, this came very naturally when we started talking, and we thought that this is a very small contribution that we can make above and beyond what we do in our normal lives, and to support young scientists of ours in this initiative of Saransh. Because, you know, what is important is खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा खुद बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. We need youngsters like that, to whom, when they go on a global platform, you know, they are looked upon. You look at the CEOs, I mean, you all know about the companies that Indians are heading at this point of time. You all also have that within you. And these are initiatives like Saransh that can add that extra wheel. We spoke about 2 wheels, that extra wheel, that extra zest, that extra energy that you all will need. For me personally, this is a huge milestone, because tomorrow is my birthday. Of course, there's nothing new about it. We all become old. Tomorrow is my 60th birthday, and on 31st of March, my tenure with Springer Nature comes to an end. So for me to be associated with Saransh and to be given this kind of support for 2025 and 2026, the INSA team sitting over here knows the kind of maneuverability we did to try to support this initiative. What I can say is, I may be turning 60, and as Dr. Ashutosh Sharma said, that energy and enthusiasm goes down. Mine is not going down. So I'll continue to be associated with academia and with all of you in different ways. And I'll try my level best to support INSA and initiatives like these. Because for us, you are, I mean, it's not a cliché that you all are future. You are the India that we all look up to. And when I go and represent this country overseas, it's very evident what you all can make us proud of. So it's not just Sir C.V. Raman that we heard so much about. There could be many other C.V. Raman sitting over here, and happy to be associated with Saransh that could give us many more of these. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing the collaborative experience with INSA. Proceeding ahead, I now invite Dr. Kalpana Nagpal, Secretary INSA and Associate Professor at Amity University, to brief up the audience about the award winners and their research work.
Thanks, Ananya. You had a tiring day, right? Okay. So, dear esteemed dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, INSA colleagues, INSA mentors, I would say rather, researchers, and dear participants. First of all, wish you a very happy National Science Day 2025. We all are now aware about the theme. And of course, the Saransh competition very much aligned with the theme of somehow we are empowering the youth for that, with the help of innovation, to bring that kind of change that we are actually looking forward. So at the outset, it's with great honor and enthusiasm I got this opportunity to introduce all of you with the winners of Saransh, a 3-minute thesis competition. And this prestigious event has been an incredible platform, of course, for showcasing the brilliant work of PhD scholars around India. And just to give you a brief about the stats, a total of 241 candidates across India showcased their talent in terms of communicating science to the general public. Among the diverse field, with almost 36% are from life sciences, 31% from engineering background, 18% belong to chemical sciences, and 14% from physical and mathematical sciences. So the diversity is spread across almost all states of India, with a maximum representation from institutes which are located especially in the Maharashtra state. So if we see that region-wise distribution, the southern region had the highest percentage of participating in terms of institutes, and this is exceeding the 30%, followed by the northern region institutes, that is close to around 30%, and the scope is quite emerging in the case of western and eastern region. Almost 20% representation was there from the institutes. So overall, the competition had a kind of broad appeal, attracting a significant number of applicants from diverse disciplines and region across India. So the best part is that the participants' competition had highlighted not only on the depth of research, but also as an ability of young researcher to communicate that complex idea, whatever they were actually doing in the lab, in a very clear and compelling way for a wider audience. The way Nishant has told, like how we are going to explain this to our the closer ones, right, at home. The same thing I was discussing in my classroom as well, right? And a wider, and it's of course vital for fostering the scientific communication, at the same time innovation in the mind of young people. So what we feel is that such platforms as Saransh, INYAS, INSA, what we talk about, they'll provide an excellent opportunity for not only those young scholars, I think others are also watching it online as well, some are sitting here across, making them more accessible and engaging for the non-specialized in those fields also, right? Because you are communicating it in the right way. So today when you all are meeting in person, the winners also, and I must say that you should utilize that opportunity among yourself, discussing that concept, spotlighting your own research, and further think a bit critically so that interdisciplinary research can actually come up with the dialogues as well as the collaborations. Further, it will help shaping the future of science by encouraging you all think critically and present your ideas effectively. Of course, we talk about the communication skills, their importance, right? So how to present, because that was a 3-minute competition. So within 3 minutes, which point you have to highlight upon, that was very much critically evaluated based on certain 4 key aspects. Based on that, we actually concluded and to like very precisely say that we try to evaluate the invaluable role of reviewers also is very critical there. Like how only the talent which is presenting well is somehow being highlighted. So before I announce the winners, I would like to extend the heartfelt gratitude to all the organizers, of course, the reviewers and everyone who has contributed to make this event a grand success. And special thanks to our sponsor, Springer Nature, for the prize money, of course, and the commitment to promote scientific excellence. That is actually the truly commendable there. So without further delay, I am thrilled to announce the winners of Saransh 3-minute thesis competition. Firstly, the major area is physical and mathematical sciences. Let me announce the third winner. I mean the third position winner. Name is Priyanka Kumari. A big round of applause for her. The second prize in that category goes to Shivani from Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar. Priyanka is from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. The first prize in that category of physical and mathematical sciences goes to Mr. Deepak Maiti from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Hyderabad. So big round of applause for all the winners. Moving ahead for the engineering sciences, the third prize goes to Mr. Mahendra Tiwari, is from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. The second prize goes to Ms. Sonali Sudhakar Naik. She is from CSIR, National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. The first prize in engineering sciences goes to Ajul E. from Indian Institute of Technology, Palakkad. So a big round of applause for all the winners for both the categories. Moving ahead to the life sciences category, the third prize in that goes to Akshaya Ashok from Manipal Institute of Regenerative Medicine. A big round of applause for Akshaya. The second prize goes to Abrito Karmakar from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. The first prize goes to Mr. Pranoy Paul from CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. A big round of applause for all the winners. Moving ahead to the last category, the chemical sciences. The third prize in that category goes to Anu from Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. The second prize in that category goes to Akanksha Sharma from Indian Institute of Technology, Gandhinagar. And the first prize goes to Sharon Benny Alex from Shivratri Phule Pune University. A big round of applause to all, and congratulations to all the winners. So your outstanding research representation actually truly set apart in a highly competitive way, and each one of you has showcased not only the technical excellence, I must say, but also the incredible ability to communicate your complex ideas with clarity and with precision. That's how all the winners got the prizes. So you actually have to inspire now your peers and be a mentor for others, students also who are sitting next to you, and of course you are in proximity with other juniors to you also, so that the scientific community should flourish. So once again, congratulations to all the award winners. We are incredibly proud to each one of you, and we look forward to see you how your research will continue to contribute to the advancement of knowledge, and of course the practical ability in the real world, which is actually important. Thank you for all your dedication. You all have demonstrated exceptional promises, and we hope that you will continue to engage with the scientific community and explore new avenues for your research. With a big round of applause, we invite the award winners one by one to share more about their research in a couple of minutes, and they will provide us with the insights into how their work contributed to the society and how it can be brought up to bring that meaningful change which we all are looking forward for. And it's an exciting opportunity, whomsoever is actually listening to this, to hear directly from the winners about the real world impact for their research. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request the distinguished dignitaries to please honor the exceptional achievers who have come all the way from their institutes and hometowns to receive the awards today. I request the dignitaries to please come in front of the dais. I also request Ms. Tina Bedi, Executive Publisher, Springer Journals, to please come up on stage. First we have Ms. Sonali Sudhakar Nayak, second prize, Engineering Sciences from CSIR National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. The winners are being awarded with a memento, a certificate, and a cash prize. Cash prize for the second prize is rupees 6,000. I now request Ms. Shivani to please come near the stage. Ms. Shivani bagged the second prize in Physical and Mathematical Sciences from Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar. Congratulations, Shivani. She is also awarded with the memento, certificate, and cash prize of rupees 6,000. I request the winners to please be in the backstage so that they can share their experience right after the felicitation ceremony. Next we have Ms. Priyanka Kumari. She bagged third prize in Physical and Mathematical Sciences from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. I request the winners to please be around the stage. She is awarded with a memento, certificate, and a cash prize of rupees 4,000. Keep the things there when you come. You can keep the things there. Next we have Miss Anu. She bagged third prize in chemical sciences from Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Homi Bhabha National Institute, Mumbai. Congratulations, Anu. I think you flew down all the way from Bombay to Delhi. Welcome here and congratulations once again. She is awarded with a cash prize of rupees 4,000 along with a memento and a certificate. I now hand over the stage to all the winners. I may request the dignitaries to please please have a seat on the dais. I request the winners to please come one by one, introduce yourself and share your experience.
Hi everyone, I am Sonali Naik from CSR National Chemical Laboratory, Pune. So I thank INSA team for recognizing our research and its impact for the societal benefit. So basically my research focuses on breathing illness, which is often taken for granted unless it becomes a struggle. So my research focuses on developing tracheal splints for tracheal disorders, basically a mechanical support which is provided for the patients to breathe easily. So my research combines the cutting-edge technology like 3D printing for development of this tracheal splits. So I take this opportunity to thank INSA team for giving us this privilege to share our thoughts on a big platform so that a whole young community can share their knowledge and again and also inspiring us for keep growing and also to dream about the thoughts to take into reality. Thank you very much. Thank you, INSA team.
Good evening everyone, myself Shivani from IIT Ropar, Punjab. My research work is basically on study of the metal semiconductor interface, and the semiconductor is the ultra wide bandgap semiconductor. I think you should all know about the silicon carbide and gallium nitrides, and there is another new material that is gallium oxide. I am working on the gallium oxide and the various challenges which we are currently facing with the gallium oxide. So basically I am working on contacts with gallium oxides, and I would like to thank you INSA for organizing such a delightful program for showcase our research work. Thank you everyone.
Good evening everyone. I am Priyanka Kumari from Central University of South Bihar, Gaya. I am working on the magnetic properties of the high entropy alloys for the application of this material for the soft magnetic materials. I would like to thank you, organizing team, jury members, and I would like to thank my research supervisor and lab mates for their support. Thank you.
Good evening everyone. I'm truly honored to be standing here and receiving this prestigious award, and I thank the INSA for organizing this event and providing us a national platform to present our research. I'm a research scholar at Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, and I'm working under the supervision of Dr. Santosh Kumar Gupta. I'm working on development of luminescent materials for phosphor converted light emitting diodes or LEDs. Since LEDs are integrated into our daily lives, and as India is placed at number 3 among the countries with highest carbon footprint, so LED technology can play a crucial role in combating the climate change and also mitigating the CO2 emission to reduce the CO2 emissions. So in our lab, we develop new materials, new luminescent materials by efficiently screening the host materials and also enhancing their properties, increasing thermal stability to achieve the future goal of a sustainable, efficient and innovative low carbon technology lighting solutions. I thank you again for INSA, and this award will motivate me to continue to do my best in future. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, a very heartfelt congratulations to our emerging researchers and wishing them great success in their future endeavors. Now I may request Dr. Mohit Tyagi, Scientific Officer E at BARC and INYAS CC member, to usher upon the final comments on the success of INYAS and Saransh and this entire event of National Science Day 2025.
Good evening, everyone. So it's my great pleasure and honor to give this concluding remark, because it's always a very easy task to give a concluding remark for such a successful event. Means if it is successful, then there is nothing much to give this concluding remark. No excuse, nothing there. So it's really a very successful event. But on behalf of INYAS, so we are definitely happy, but it is our now duty also to thank everyone who is behind this successful organization of such an event. More than 250 participants across all states, across all disciplines, and it was not a simple task, definitely. And so let me thank all who are behind this. First, big thank to our CC coordinator, Dr. Rishamjit, and the event coordinators, Dr. Pirveen and Dr. Rohit Sahi. So it is basically their immense dedication and hard work in organizing this competition. And then special thanks to our chairperson, Dr. Nishant, guiding us with vision and wisdom to complete this event. And then the most important is the reviewing such a difficult task. It was very close competition. All are doing very good work. They are presenting their work in such a manner that it was very difficult to decide only one winner, first or second or third prize. So our special thanks to all reviewers who have played crucial role in evaluating and providing this valuable feedback. So there, you may not believe, but there are around 40 reviewers basically who reviewed all those theses, these presentations. They are INYAS members, and some of them are actually outside INYAS also. So I will just quickly take names: Anuraj, Anindita, Ashwini, Bhala, Vrindavan, Dr. Pandey, Dr. Dheeraj Bhatia, Jairam, Kalpana. Actually, they all are doctors basically. Manas, Dr. Meena, Mudrika, Neetu, Nitin, Nisad, Pankaj, Ramendra, Ritu, Rohit, Sanjay Singh, Selvaraj, Shilendra, Sonu Gandhi, Subhaiya, Sridhar, Krishnamurthy, Trupti Das, Jairam, Manjil, Professor Chandrasekhar Sharma, Professor Komal Tripathi, Professor Sandeep Kumar, and Professor Shankar, and Professor Sunil Singh. So they all are across from various reputed institutes at different higher positions, and they evaluated this, did very tough task really. And our sincere thanks to Springer Nature for agreeing to sponsor this prize money not only for this year but for the next 2 years. So we are very thankful to them, and we want to extend our gratitude to all our INYAS members for their continuous support, and of course we want to thank Indian National Science Academy INSA for their continued support and partnership. And we want to give a special mention to Miss Ananya, so for her exceptional support throughout this event. And it was actually her tireless efforts that the whole competition went very smoothly and we could complete it. And last but not the least, we are very thankful to all the participants who put their best foot forward and showcased their brilliant research in just 3 minutes. It was not easy, so it was not their only dedication and hard work, but it shows their creativity also. So I want to again repeat that Madam Suvira words, that what she said. Just want to extend that abhi to pankh lage hain, pankho ki udan baki hai. They are too young, means they are really whole world in front of them. अभी तो पंख लगे हैं, पंखों की उड़ान बाकी है, नीचे पूरी धरती और उड़ने के लिए पूरा आसमान बाकी है. So I hope that you will continue this thing, and once again thank you everyone for making this a very meaningful and enriching. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I may please request Dr. Kinkini Dasgupta Mishra to kindly felicitate our INYAS and Saransh team, Dr. Mohit Tyagi, Dr. Kalpana Nagpal, Ms. Tina Bedi from Springer Nature, and Ms. Suvida Shrivastava from Springer Nature. Suvida ma'am and ladies and gentlemen, it has been a tiring day, but it's a big round of applause for all of you for making this event a grand success. And thank you for your kind patience. And as Professor Balram Bhargav said, attention matters the most. Thank you so much once again to all of you. You may please collect your refreshment boxes from the desk outside the auditorium. I thank you all once again.